Today is a very exciting day for McLaren Racing and the start of our next chapter.
For McLaren heading into 2021, life really couldn't get much sweeter, with Lando Norris showing how good he is in that McLaren, and Daniel Ricciardo, a proven race winner and at one point championship contender, signing for the team. McLaren were destined for a fantastic year. As we know, he struggled in his first season, regularly being outpaced by teammate Lando Norris, who was competing for podiums every other weekend. I had really high hopes for Daniel in 2022. We saw his second year at Renault, it was fantastic, but the start of his second year at McLaren has been more or less the same as last season, maybe even worse. His only highlights for this season would have been the Australian Grand Prix, where he qualified behind teammate Lando Norris but kept pace and was ultimately held back in order for them not to fight and lose time. He also outqualified Lando Norris in Spain. This was great, but Lando Norris had a very average weekend, racing with tonsillitis and hay fever while extending track limits by a matter of millimeters to put him behind Ricciardo in qualifying. However, Lando has been outperforming Daniel every other session, taking 8 laps to overtake him in Spain, finishing on the podium in P3 in Imola, while Daniel got tangled up with Carlos Sainz on lap 1, finishing last of the cars still running. Daniel also didn't look dangerous at all in Monaco, getting dragged out of the race early, finishing P13 with his teammate in P6. Personally, I'm really big on drivers' mental state. No matter how good you are, if you aren't comfortable in your team or confident in your machinery, relying on your brakes and all that, you won't reach peak performance. Maybe it's my Aussie pride, but I still don't doubt Daniel's ability. I think the time he's losing is all above the shoulders. Short of Monza and a few races, this partnership has not met his or our expectations of what we were expecting. Lando definitely has an edge. Words of Zach Brown after the Spanish Grand Prix. I completely agree with what he said. Daniel also saying, "It's not false, it's pretty true. It's something that, well, firstly, comments like that I don't take personally. My skin is tanned, beautiful, and also thick." Daniel holds himself incredibly well in front of media, but comments like this can affect people in many different ways. Imagine your boss told everyone you were underperforming on a global scale, and you knew this, but you said, "I know, he or she is not wrong, but I'll just try and do better." At face value it might be okay, but deep down, next time you clock on, you're going to be a bit nervous. Feel like everyone's watching. Now, as good as Lando is, I personally don't think it's just his ability which is giving him the edge. Is it the culture? Have McLaren lost faith in Daniel Ricciardo already? Who knows? But what's next for Daniel Ricciardo? There are many options. Many say McLaren will kick him out of the team to make way for another driver. Here's why that can't happen. Daniel Ricciardo's future at McLaren in 2023 is in his hands. Although there is a release clause in Ricciardo's contract, he is the only person who can trigger that. In other words, if he wants to stay, he stays. McLaren also have the option to pay out his contract. In my eyes, McLaren both won't want to do this, nor will it be smart for them to do so. Daniel Ricciardo to IndyCar, an exciting prospect to be fair. People speculating a switch between Paddy O'Ward and Daniel Ricciardo. Before that becomes real, it is likely Paddy will have to win the IndyCar Championship to obtain enough points for his super license to race in Formula 1. In saying that, it is almost impossible to know how many super license points any driver has or needs to make the cut. Paddy O'Ward, when asked if Formula 1 is the end goal, said, "For sure, yeah. I mean, my dream to be a race car driver started with that, so I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. Who knows if F1 will be an option or won't be an option. Obviously, if it comes about, I will 100% take it, and every single driver in my position would do it also." It's safe to say if this is the route McLaren take, it will be as good as done. Colton Herta is also another IndyCar driver option. And let's not lie, Zach Brown would love an American driver. Daniel Ricciardo to another team on the Formula 1 grid. I find this one harder to believe because Ricciardo's performances recently wouldn't have any other team clawing to get him. Maybe Haas. Can he replace Mick Schumacher? But that would cost the team money. And fortunately for Mick, Ferrari have a say on where he drives. Maybe Alpine, except I can't see Alonso retiring for at least 2 more years, and Ocon will only move for that Mercedes seat. How about Alfa Romeo? That would be cool. Replace Zhou and race with Bottas. I would love that. But Zhou will race till the end of 2023, Alfa Romeo confirming. Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari are off the cards. What about Williams? There's rumours of Oscar Piastri heading there next season. Not to replace Latifi, but Alex Albon. And if I were Williams, I would look for younger talent in Piastri too. Oh, and replace Latifi instead. The only 3 teams I'm left with are AlphaTauri, McLaren, and Aston Martin. If Sebastian Vettel retires, I think it would be opportunistic for him to head there. This is because I think they will have a championship caliber car in the next 2 or 3 years. AlphaTauri have said they're set on their 2 drivers for next season, but Pierre Gasly has said he is considering all options after Red Bull signed Sergio Perez for 2 more years. I can seriously see Ricciardo in that AlphaTauri getup. That's if Gasly leaves, which in all honesty, he should, to a championship contending team. The ideal swap between these drivers in my eyes is a team swap. Ricciardo to AlphaTauri, and Gasly to McLaren to partner Lando Norris. But personally, I think he will stay at McLaren until the end of 2023. After that, who knows? Not long ago, I asked, is it the culture? Let me give you a bit more on that topic, and we're going to be talking about Azerbaijan. Post-race, I couldn't stop thinking about McLaren's team orders call, to the point where, while Leclerc was retiring, I was still frustrated at McLaren. Daniel Ricciardo on hards, a better race tyre on the day, behind Lando Norris on the mediums. Daniel had asked Lando to let him through because he was faster, to which the team said no. Lando's trying to overcut Alonso. Well, fair enough. No team orders come into play, but Lando was 5 seconds behind Alonso after his pit stop, and Daniel was primarily the one who lost from that call. Daniel fought amazingly, something I haven't seen since Australia, finishing in front of Lando, but with 10 laps left, Lando is now asking for team orders. Instead of keeping with the pattern and saying no, William Joseph, Lando's race engineer, said, "I'll get on it," before asking Daniel to move aside and giving Lando the option to push up. At this point, Daniel's pace dropped off a cliff. How fucking demoralising. We all know this didn't eventuate, and Daniel finished in front. But the option being there is what really makes me upset. Why are there a different set of rules for Lando than there is for Daniel? He deserves a team that fills him with confidence, even if that's a team not performing well. I mean, look at Valtteri Bottas. He's performing exceptionally at Alfa Romeo compared to Mercedes. I wanted that happy Bottas back, which we all got. Now all that's left is a real Daniel Ricciardo smile to return. That would be nice. But in the same breath, we've seen him step away from Red Bull. What's going to stop him from stepping away from McLaren too? What do you think Ricciardo's options are for 2023 and beyond? Where do you want to see him race? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe.